G'day everyone, RisingFunGaming here. Welcome to another Monster Hunter World video. This time around we're looking at some brand new Rotten Vale gameplay where they're going to show off all of the major monsters of the area, which is exciting. This was taken from the live stream of Capcom TV on Wednesday night, Japan time. And yeah, it was really good. Some good gameplay, some good insights, and yeah, this is really great. I'm not really in the habit of reposting other people's footage, but I thought that this one warranted a reposting, not only because not a lot of people tune into this from the West, but there's quite a few insights in the Japanese that people that have already watched it might not have really understood. But anyway, here is the starting area of the Rotten Vale. And they make note here that it's an area that's rife with death and deadly hazards, but despite this, the Rotten Vale is teeming with wildlife, as we will see. You can see a little painted skull up there, which might be a bit of a warning sign for would-be greenhorns. Definitely turn back if you're not ready for what comes. And here something comes. This is the Radoban. Now, I don't know, you've got to be careful when you say these sort of things. I'm going to say very loosely it's like a distant cousin of Uragan. I'm not sure how they're related, but very reminiscent of that monster, replete in his bone armor. And speaking of which, plating his leg area, you'll see, as they mentioned in the commentary, he's been plated with the Diablos horns. I don't know how that would work to aid or hinder his rolling, but we'll suspend our disbelief there anyway. Now, very interesting looking guy. He's got quite a few moves that are distinct from his Uragan cousin, as we will see throughout this, and I'm sure there's some other moves that we don't get to see in this particular gameplay. See some Hornator down here as well, one of the denizens of this deep. Of course, we're used to the rolling attacks, but it's interesting how he sort of pulled up there mid-roll on the back and then continued to roll. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think that he's firing something from the slinger. I think it's torchberries or whatever they're called in English. Something that will come in very handy later on, and we'll make comment to that. And as we saw in the ancient forest, there's sort of these little vine traps in the area, and we'll see the Radoban get intertwined in those there. So that's returning, or it's indeed a feature of this area as well, something to look out for and use to your advantage. Really love the aesthetic of those spiraling bones around the face. It's like a cage to protect him. It's very interesting, and definitely it's always the case with most monsters. You want to break stuff, you want to break the head and stuff like that, but it's definitely the case with this guy. You want to get rid of those, and I will say in this this little gameplay, you will definitely see those bones come off. In which fashion, I will leave it a surprise. It's very satisfying. Anyway, it looks like he just got the first stage break on them. There is a second stage to it, as we'll see later. It looks like Sword and Shield, upon doing sort of that jumping forward attack, gets an extra launch off a monster, which is cool. I like that. You see sort of this spiraling S-shaped snaky pattern to that attack, which is not really reminiscent of Uragan, which is good. It's good to see new stuff. And it seems that with his tail flicks, he'll definitely liberate a few bones your way as well, so look out for those. I'm not sure if they can actually hit you. I assume that they can. This is another really interesting move too. He's got a sliding spiral, a sliding horizontal spiral attack. Pretty cool, covers a lot of lateral area, so you'll not only have to think about dodging when he's rolling sort of in a more vertical orientation. Hello, oh dog Aaron has come. It's sort of the mnemonic for remembering his name. Oh dog Aaron. I think someone was mentioning that on Twitter the other day. Love how he animates. I'm a big fan of dogs. I love dogs. I'm a dog person, not so much a cat person. Cat's alright, but it's good to have a dog monster. And he's just sliding in there, kind of look like a hip check. He flips about. I love how mobile and dexterous he is. And I said something really cool is going to happen regarding that face break. And there it is. The Odogaron just jumping on and ripping it off. So it's a very advantageous thing letting the two monsters have at each other whilst you kind of watch from a safe distance. And that's one of the really cool things about Monster Hunter World, isn't it? So it looks like Radoban is kind of tail between the legs and off. And Odogaron is just wondering, should I go after him or should I come get the hunter? There he is, out of nowhere. That's how nimble he is. Damn. Alright, so at this point they're putting on the Challenger Mantle because we'd like to put him over in another area. So I don't know if the player is doing this just to show off some new stuff or whether it's advantageous. Actually, no, it is advantageous to come over here, and we will see why. So we're coming into this area. It's got a lot more of that toxic miasma. I'm not really sure whether it gives you a status effect as such, and I can't really see it now, but at some points in the video we will see health just slowly dropping, which I believe is the effects of the gas. Hopefully we will see that a little bit later, but what they are saying in the commentary here is that upon using your launched little, I think they're called torchberries, it is confirmed here that it disperses the miasma, so use those to your advantage. They're also talking about these flying monsters here. These guys are called the Ruffinos, and they're making commentary about the fact that usually they're gentle of nature and they're herbivorous, but upon coming down here and I guess catching whatever, getting affected by the miasma or whatever's happened to them, they've definitely turned into something a lot more malevolent, dangerous, and it's very interesting, that dynamic, and I can't wait to see it repeated for other monsters if indeed that is a thing. I believe it is. Alright, we're coming upon the other major monster of this map. It's the Great Gyros, or Gyros, not sure how it's pronounced, with his smaller buddies, the Gyros. And again, utilizing the other monster to fight the monster that's after you. It's aggressive after you. To your advantage, the Great Gyros, and indeed the Gyros Littlies, have paralysis, and we're using that, well, the player, I keep role-playing like I'm playing this right now. Player using that to his advantage. Director, I think it's Tokuda-san, isn't it? That's his name, isn't it? And then we just got the trophy come up. I think they forgot to turn off the trophies, but they didn't spoil anything. Basically, that was just talking about the fact that they have befriended their first small monster. And speaking of which, they have indeed befriended the Gyros. Your Palico friend can do that and get him on board. In fact, our Palico's riding it at the moment. For those that don't know, you can befriend small monsters in this fashion out in the field, and it's done through your Palico talking to them. There's feline tribes scattered throughout every zone of world, to my knowledge, and they're called Grimalkine or Grimalkine, and they're able to teach your Palico the language of various monsters, so that your Palico can in turn talk to and befriend them. Speaking of befriending, we've got a little tribe of these Grimalkine here setting up a kind of vine trap, helping you here. It's kind of unfortunate timing because they just got the ride there, but oh well, I won't say no to that, I guess. One thing that they're saying here is that these Grimalkine will not help you from the outset. You have to get out of your way to befriend them, at which point they will do so. Now, what I really love about this, it looks very intuitive, the jumping attacks of Sword and Shield, especially when it comes to launching off the monster, which you'll see here. Jump up, quickly turn around and slice if you need to change direction. And that's a very professional looking play. Very impressed with that, and a good tail indeed. Actually, speaking of monsters that have that kind kind of blight or whatever it's called. It kind of looks like it on second glance that the Gyros has that about it. So perhaps the little miasma has affected it, but I thought this was its home ground, so I'm not 100% sure about that whatsoever. Over here is the tribe of Grimalkine, and they just hang out and show them here. What you'll see is the player's Palico, Harami, will translate for you, saying that they're saying, "Let's go together." So that's what the little Grimalkine was saying. If you haven't seen this already, here are those really, really cute little paddle boats that your felines will whip out when they're put into deep water. Very, very cute, and it's cool to see that there's a variety of different types. Very awesome. Now this is very interesting. You'll see that the Odogaron, he is now hungry and battered and a little bit bruised, and he wants something to eat, and looks like he has secured himself a dead Lagiana. I think that's how you pronounce it, Lagiana. And it's somewhat decayed because it's much darker than what you're used to, but if you look at the wing patterns there, you can definitely make out that that is the beast indeed. At this point, they're pretty happy with their little gameplay here. They're going to let the Odogaron go off and have its food. But before they cut everything short, there's just one thing that they wish to show us. This is the Rotten Vale, and it's kind of scary and dark and dank and full of death and stuff like that. But on the flip side, we've got a very beautiful looking area that contrasts the dark dankness of this bit, and it should be just around the corner here somewhere. They're just about approaching it, and here it is. You've got this beautiful cerulean sort of body of water here. Fantastic. And of course curiosity would definitely steer the hunter towards perhaps trying a dip. So what happens? Your health melts away super fast. And why is that the case? It's because it's actually acid. These little lakes, whatever you want to call them, are full of acid. I'm assuming it's sort of made from organic sources, perhaps from decaying bodies and perhaps even decaying plant life and rocks and whatnot. But yeah, that's really cool, and hopefully they've got some sort of really interesting books describing these locales and the biology and chemistry and geology and all those sorts of interesting things, describing all about it. But that's pretty much it for the gameplay that they showed. Very, very exciting, very, very insightful. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it myself. As always, thank you for watching my videos. My name's RisingFunGaming. Consider subscription to the channel to see more Monster Hunter World content, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye for now.